Okay, let's go file some taxes. And so I just want to show you that there's a little quick video here if you're doing this from home of what you need to get started, but I'm going to be talking about that on each slide. And also on slide 2, I gave you reference to the vocab. If you haven't practiced Monday night's homework of the Quizlet vocab before this assignment, it could be really helpful. And just know that there's a mention in here of an earned income child credit. And the earned income credit, or EIC, only is for it only qualifies specific people. We are not going to be using an EIC on this tax return, and we'll talk more about it on Thursday, Friday, of whether people qualify for it or not. So let's look at our first W-2. In order to start this W-2, you need to have a couple things. You need a 1040 tax form. You can have this printed. You can have this digital, or, basically those are your two choices that we're going to be doing here. There's other ways to get to it in real life, but we'll just talk about those two for now. So if you're doing this on paper, you're going to handwrite it out and then upload a photo of it, both sides, when you're done. If you're doing this digitally with me right now, then you're going to screenshot this into the document before you're done. Or you can digitally save the document and also attach it. Either way, have that tax form open, and since we're going to be doing 3 of these, you are going to need 3 tax forms. Second, we need this tax table. So this tax table right here, have this open and handy. We're going to use it. And finally, you may need a calculator. You can use your phone, or you can use the usual desmos.com. But so have your tax form, tax table, and Desmos handy, and we're ready to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and hit present here just so you can see it a little bit bigger. And if you need to increase the size in this to see it, feel free to. We're talking today about a single filer, Erin Hills. As far as we know, Erin Hills has no dependents, and so we are going to just be doing this tax filing as a single, no dependent filer. Erin Hills lives at this address. Her employer is Arden Home in San Francisco, and her notice in box 1, her wages are listed right there. That's how much she earned at her job. Number 2 is how much income tax has already been withheld. Number 3 is the Social Security wages that have been withheld, etc. So which boxes are we mainly going to be using on this tax filing? Box 1 and box 2. And then way down at the bottom, state wages and state income tax tips, you would be using box 16 and 17 to file the 540 California form. But we're just doing federal forms today with the IRS. So when you file your taxes in real life, you have to file the federal income taxes with the IRS and the state income taxes with the state of California. If you use an online system like TurboTax, it files for both simultaneously, saving you some time. Okay, let's go back. Let's start typing in the information for Erin Hills. So I'm going to do a split screen here because I'm going to need to reference this W-2 here in a second. I'm going to grab this tax form over here. Okay, step 1. Do you see this little section right here? We need to check the box for single. Trying to see how I can get rid of this little tab over here. I guess I can't. So check the box for single and then start typing in your first name and middle initial. The name is Erin Hills. And social security number for Erin Hills, do you see it right here, is 123456789. So creative. So big key point here is that you need to know your social security number before you file your taxes. And that social security number is right on your W-2. The W-2 form comes from your job. If this was a joint return, we'd be filling out the spouse's information here, but we're just doing a single filer today, so we're stopping. Next is the home address for Erin Hills. Again, looking back at her W-2, we've got an address of 92 McAllister Street in San Francisco. Go type that in. And that was in San Francisco, California, 94103. So take a minute to type in that top information for Erin Hills. Next, it says foreign country name, foreign province, foreign postal code. We don't have any foreign information. She lives right here in the good old US, so that's all we need to type in here. There's no apartment number, no spouse information, no spouse social security number. Next on the right is a voluntary thing. Would you like to donate to the presidential election campaign? And you would check here if you want to, or check here if a spouse wants to. I'm going to leave them unchecked because we do not want to donate. Next, I'm going down here to standard deduction. Someone can claim you as a dependent or your spouse as dependent. So what is this row for? This would be like your parents still being able to claim you. They would, you'd be filling out a tax return form because you worked last year, but you would also be checking this box that someone can claim you as a dependent because your parents are still claiming you on your on their tax returns. But in this case, Erin Hills is an adult with no parents claiming her, so we are not checking anything in row of standard deduction there. Finally, age. In this, were you born before January 2nd, 56? Are you blind? Was your spouse born before that date or are blind? You would check this box. Next section is called dependents. If you had some dependents, like I have 2 kids, you would be listing them here, but Erin Hills does not. So we leave that blank as well. I'm now moving down into the calculation section where we're going to start filling in numbers. And so line 1, what goes in line 1? If you go over here, it actually gives you the specific directions of where to find this on your W-2. So we're going to want to find the wages, salaries, and tip from our W-2. So let's go look. Line 1 happens to come from box 1, $16,525. So go ahead and fill in $16,525. As a little known fact, when you file your taxes, you do not have to put change. You can round down or round up to the nearest dollar. I put it to be specific, but you don't have to. Next is a whole bunch of incomes that someday might be something you have to worry about, but right now we don't. For example, line 2A, tax exempt interest. Do you receive any of that? In our case, Erin Hills does not. Qualified dividends. That would be if Erin Hills had some stocks that were paying her in dividends, but Erin Hills does not. She just has her W-2. IRA distributions. Erin Hills is young. She did not take any IRA distributions. That's a retirement account. Pensions and annuities. Again, that's a retirement account. None for her. Social Security benefits. This would be if you received any Social Security payments throughout the year. Usually this is for retired people, but it could also be someone who receives Social Security for the death of a parent or guardian. But in this case, Erin Hills does not. Capital gain. Did she sell a property and receive any money? Nope. Wait a second. I have to pay taxes on the money I earn if I sell my property? Yep. Add lines 1, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, 6B. It literally gives me the directions here for line 9. Add other income. Sorry, I forgot that one of 0. Now line 9, it tells you everything to add up. So all the numbers above we add up. That's going to give us $16,525. So far, we just had our wages, salaries, and tips from our W-2, and all the rest were zeros. From Schedule 1, line 22, again, adjustments to income. This is not going to apply for most of you, and where most of our lifetimes, we're just going to put 0 there. Adding lines 10A, 10B together to get 10C, which is also just 0. Subtract line 10C from line 9. This is your adjusted gross income. Standard deduction or itemized deductions from a Schedule A. What does itemized deduction mean? Anybody who's self-employed who can itemize all of the expenses that they had throughout the year, and it offsets their income. If someone can itemize more than the standard deduction, if you had more than 12,400, that's the standard deduction for this year. If you had more than 12,400 in expenses related to your job, it might be worth it to itemize the deductions. But for Erin, she has no expenses with her job. It's just a regular job. And so we're just going to use this standard deduction. Do you see how line 12 has this little bubble right next to it, reminding you what the standard deduction is right there? So for a single person, her standard deduction for line 12 is just 12,400. Boom. This is what the government gives us as an offset. That standard deduction means I'm not going to have to pay taxes on that minimum amount. Next says qualified business income. Nope. Erin just has a regular job. Add lines 12 and 13. Do you see how the directions are all right there for what we're supposed to be doing with each line? And finally, here it comes, dun, 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 our taxable income. How do I get line 15? I need to subtract. I need to do the 16,500 that she earned, and I need to subtract the standard deduction of 12,400. When I subtract, I get $4,100.25. This is my taxable income that I need to go look up on a tax chart. Now, before I go to the next page, I'm going to pause. Please pause the video here. Make sure everybody has all the pertinent information filled in on side 1, because we're going to side 2 now. Pause the video, restart it when you're ready. Okay, side 2. It starts immediately with the tax. Where do I get the tax? Well, the tax comes from you looking up this number from page 1, $4,125 on the tax table. So let's go look it up on the tax table. We're using an actual 2020. That's the year that we're filing. Tax table here, $4,100. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4. Here we go. So I'm going to zoom in because, man, is this tiny. We're looking for a single filer for $4,125. Do you see which row it's falling in? 4,100 to 4,150 is going to be in the single column. I'm going to look up here so you can see it again. This single column, follow it down. 41. Do you see that the tax amount is going to be right here? $413. I'm following the single column down. I'm looking at the in-between income right there of $4,125. So $413 is my tax amount. And that's what starts this page 2. Now, the amount from Schedule 2, line 3, again, we don't have a Schedule 2. We're not doing any other weird incomes. Add lines 16 and 17 together. Child tax credit or credit for other dependents. Again, Erin Hills has no children. Amount from Schedule 3. We don't have any other weird schedules. Add lines 19 and 20. Subtract 21, 0, from line 18. And any other taxes, including self-employment tax? Nope. She's just got her regular W-2. And line 24 says to add lines 22 and 23. Still giving us that tax amount of $413. Now, line 25 is federal income tax withheld from your W-2 or a 1099. So in our case, we're now going to go back to the W-2 and find her federal tax withheld. So looking on here, take a second to see which box tells us how much she has already withheld for the IRS for federal income tax withheld. You got it. Box 2. Do you see it right there? $2,097 and 54 cents. So that box 2, $2,097 and 54 cents goes right here. We didn't have a Form 99. We didn't have any other forms. So 0 is all right there. Now add lines 25A through 25C, 0.54. Now I'm going to pause here again. Where the heck did I get that number? We went to our W-2 and we saw right here in box 2 is 2097 and 54 cents. All right, estimated tax payments and our amount applied from the 2019 return. So line 26, we do not have anything. Earned income credit. If you have a qualifying child, attach the earned income credit sheet. If you have a non-taxable combat pay, see the instructions. So again, who gets the earned income credit? Somebody that has a child or non-combat pay. We don't have any of that, so we're just zero. Additional child tax credit, again, no kids. Man, it's worth it to have kids. Look at all these deductions. American Opportunity Credit, nope. Recovery rebate credit, nope. Amount from Schedule 3, no other additional schedules. Over here, it's telling me add lines 27 through 31. Well, that's just zero. These are your total payments and other refund credits. Add lines 25D and 32 to get 2097 and 54 cents. So again, if you're getting stuck on where am I getting these numbers, you stop and read the line on the tax form. Now here's the big trick. If line 33 is more than line 24, you are getting a refund because you overpaid. So you're going to subtract it. This is the amount you overpaid, and this is the amount you're going to get back as a refund. So 2097 and 54 cents minus 413 is 1684 and 54 cents. And that is the end of our tax return. There's no amount that we owe now because we are getting a refund.